Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dion's Daily Dose presents Coffee Break. Here with my buddy Jim. Hi, Jim.
Morning.
So I thought today, first of all, I want to touch on the ride that you guys just had. In my opinion, it was a huge success. How did it go for you guys?
I mean, it was pretty successful. I mean, more supporters is always better, but we had a pretty good turnout.
Okay, yeah, it looked to me. I mean, I took a few pictures, not too many, just enough to kind of show. Looked like the parking lot was substantially full, at least, right, with bikes. So, yeah, it looked good to me. But as an outsider, it's hard to see once. Because a lot of people don't understand the hidden numbers, right? The costs that go into.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like
this.
with anything. There's always a cost that goes with it, overhead and whatnot. But yeah, it was pretty successful.
Good. So I think today's episode, I'd like to focus on the Second Amendment, but specifically the change that, at least we talked about it before, where particularly the bump stock ban, right? But in general, any and all kind of slow creeping and quote inexorable march towards the reduction of our rights. And you and I have talked about this before, but for the viewers, the listeners out there, I have always been vehemently opposed to any what I consider infringement, right? And that includes the bump stock ban. Whereas your opinion was a little different.
It was. I want to preface that by saying I've never used a bump stock.
I haven't either. I've never actually owned one.
I found the concept of them kind of silly.
Okay.
Just personally.
All right.
I found them kind of silly. So when I heard that they're trying to ban the bump stock, I'm like, okay, so I mean, okay. And it didn't seem like a big thing at the time.
Okay.
To me.
Okay. Yeah, I remember we talked about it.
That was I believe my exact phrase was, it wasn't the hill I wanted to die on.
Right. I remember that. Whereas my opinion was, we, not just as Republicans, but as gun owners, as Second Amendment advocates, gun enthusiasts, whatever you want to call it. But really, we, the people of the United States of America, have given over and over and over when it comes to just a little compromise.
Right.
Just, more common sense regulations, more common sense gun control. Because the last law worked so well, and the one before it, and the one before it. Because honestly, and I understand it from for example, a grieving parent or a grieving spouse or a grieving child of someone killed in a manner that involves a firearm. I get it. I understand it from their perspective. Well, without this tool, you wouldn't have been able to do what you did. But working in a maximum security prison, if some people want to hurt people, they do find a way. There's no guns behind the wall at ISP, but yet they still found a way to make weapons. They still found a way to hurt each other, etc. And we have we have given that compromise over and over and over. It was, background checks and special dealers and this and that. And some states are full on gun registration. You have to register your firearms. I mean, like with magazine bans.
Yeah. Illinois. I mean, you have to have a firearms ID card. You have to have a carry permit. Yep. You have to have, tons of documentation.
Right. And then some of that stuff isn't even valid in their various cities. Like Chicago requires even further, even deeper restrictions.
How's that working out for you, Chicago?
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people from all over the nation talk shit about Chicago. Mm-hmm. We live right by Chicago. Yeah. We can, we used to go to Chicago. Mm-hmm. Like, we used to go to Chicago, hang out, go to
on a whim.
Yeah, on a whim. Just, let's cruise over Chicago. Mm-hmm. It's less than an hour. Well, now it's a little more with traffic, but right up the road, essentially. And now I will not go to Chicago. I absolutely refuse. My wife is constantly talking about like concerts or other bullshit she wants us to attend, and I'm like, is it in Chicago? Yep. Nope. Is it in Illinois? Yep. Nope. And that's just me though. That's and I've talked about this before. You vote with your wallet. Whatever you don't want, don't support.
Right.
Don't pay for it. Mm-hmm. Support vendors or whatever. But I find that it's always just a little more. Mm-hmm. So how is your opinion of the gun ban, or the gun stock ban, I should say, changed?
Okay. Well, I still think
it's stupid.
I didn't say stupid. Okay. I still think the concept of bump stocks is kind of silly.
Okay.
However, that I came around to agreeing with you insofar as, everything's just a little more, another inch, just another inch. It was the bump stocks, it was the forced reset triggers. Now it's the pistol braces,
right?
Things that were perfectly acceptable by law.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden, oh wait, and it's not even a law. It's not even like it's against the law to have this. There's no law.
Right.
It's just a regulation. Mm-hmm. Now we've got bureaucrats deciding what we can and can't do.
And I think
bureaucrats. If I can,
go ahead.
Add on to that. Bureaucrats who we didn't elect.
Yeah.
They don't represent us.
Right.
They represent a concern. They represent an agenda.
Right.
I dislike bureaucrats greatly.
Well, yeah, and in most cases, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I mean, a prime example is the ATF, whatever the guy's name is that's running it these days. They had him in front of Congress, and they asked him, who is it? Garland? Isn't he? No, is that DOJ or is that whatever? Anyway, the head of the ATF, that idiot.
Yeah.
They had him in front of Congress, and they were asking him questions about how much he knew about firearms, and he almost missed every single question. Mm-hmm. The guy has no clue what he's talking about, and he's trying to legislate or create the rules for the rest of us to follow. And this is a chronic problem.
That's the beautiful thing. If I could, just interject there. That's the beautiful thing is you don't have to know anything about firearms if you want to get rid of all of them.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it.
You don't have to discriminate. You don't have to know the difference between a Glock and an AR-15. Just get rid of them all.
Exactly. And that's their goal. I don't. A lot of times, the whole naysayer, doomsayer, whatever, they're after this, they're after that. But in reality, the goal of these people is ultimately an unarmed society. Mm-hmm. But the key that they fail to tell you is, sure, you're unarmed, but their forces are not. The police, the military, the whomever, right? The forces that go out and enforce the will of the ruling class.
The rich.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, it's always funny to me, these politicians, right, who don't have, or I should say, are vehemently against the Second Amendment. They're just against people being armed, but yet they have armed security.
Oh yeah,
every single time. I mean, like every single time.
Well, yeah. I mean, what do the unwashed masses need with weapons?
Exactly. Right. Whereas their security should be paramount.
Pay your taxes, be good serfs.
Yeah.
And shut up.
Right. Right. And I say, damn that.
Yeah. I think anyone with a shred of common sense would say, damn that.
Right. So we've seen, again, all of these common sense gun control.
Yeah. Let's talk about common sense gun control.
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen the video of the it was a congressional hearing or some sort of committee where the guy is talking about pistol braces, and he actually says, yeah, you put this pistol brace on and it acts as a bump stock. Now it's fully automatic.
What?
Yes.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And was immediately shot. He's like, they're like, you have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, no, I didn't say it was a bump stock. I said it acts like a bump stock when you put it on. And it was a circus.
Right.
It was an absolute circus.
And that's what I mean. These are the very people that are legislating or attempting to legislate your rights away. Because ultimately, the Second Amendment has nothing to do with you being given the right to do anything. The right is inherent. The right of you to defend yourself is inherent.
Right.
The Second Amendment and the entire Constitution, but specifically the Bill of Rights, is specifically to limit government's control, to limit the ability of government to make it to where you are unable to exercise your rights.
Exactly.
So the slow creeping march.
Well, and I love they always preface it with, we don't want to take your guns.
Right, yeah, every single time. We don't want to take your guns.
But you don't need an AR-15 for hunting.
Right.
Who said anything about hunting?
Yeah.
The Second Amendment said zero about hunting.
Not a thing.
There is nothing. Look it over, front to back, side to side. There's no, unless it's written in invisible ink, there is nothing in that amendment about hunting.
Not a single thing. Not a single thing. And again, ultimately, it's to restrict government, not us.
Right. And, you also hear the argument about, well, it was written at a time when, all they had was muskets.
That's actually incorrect.
Well, regardless, back then, a musket was a military weapon.
Exactly. That's the point.
Your average farmer, normally did not have a rifle. They had a smooth bore that fired shot, because that's what they needed for, their purposes, farming.
Yeah.
But, when push came to shove, it was time for a rifle.
Right.
They had them.
Exactly. Well, the entire purpose of the Second Amendment, and I know this because I've read the Federalist Papers, the entire purpose of the Second Amendment, penned by the people who wrote it, was to ensure that the civilians, the people of the United States of America, or the 13 colonies at the time, had the ability and access to at least as advanced weaponry as the official military. They always intended for the people of the U.S. to actually have more powerful weapons than their standing army.
Which is kind of funny. We go back to the AR-15 argument.
Right.
The AR-15...
It is not a military grade.
No, the AR-15 was a civilian weapon.
Right. It was always intended. It's AR stands for Armalite Rifle Model 15. Yep.
And it was adopted by the military.
Yeah. It started off as civilian.
Once Colt bought the design, they just added another selector position and said, you know what? You should use this for your army.
Right. Right. We've designed this so well, as a matter of fact, that we think this would be excellent for the contract for, our quote, standing army.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your opinion now on the compromise? Right. This slow, incessant need, number one, to please the next generation, because a lot of those voices calling for, well, we should just get rid of them, are, college kids and the so-called next generation that believes that we've evolved far enough away from that type of society that we can have a polite and unarmed society. What's your message?
You'll never evolve away from that kind of a society. You're just asking to be ruled over.
Well, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's what they want. I mean, as long as you keep me comfortable, I don't, call yourself king. Who cares?
Yeah.
Long as I'm comfy.
Right. So let me ask you this. Do you believe, and it's slightly off track, but not really, do you believe that the American people as a whole have the spine left to rise up if it comes to that?
Some, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. But like we talked about earlier,
we talked about
it's not even so much about having the spine to rise up. It's like, having the sense to do it right.
And I think that's the real key there.
There's a very fine line between revolution and terrorism.
Oh, absolutely. And that's something that people need to be aware of as well. Any kind of dissent, anything that the government can point to and say, you're not getting with the program, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the Patriot Act and because of the slow, inexorable compromise. Huh? The Patriot Act, right? Because of that, along with many, many other laws that have been shoved into the books over the decades, over the years and years and years, it is now practically against the law to disagree with the government.
Right.
They label us domestic terrorists. They label us extremists, right-wing extremists, left-wing extremists. I always notice, though, what's really interesting to me, and you can see this on full display from your so-called left-wing media, right? Your CNN, your MSN, your MSDNC, as Donald Trump called it. But you see, it's always right-wing extremists. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking back, right, to the Summer of Love and the mostly peaceful protests. Did you ever hear CNN or MSNBC or any of these other stations use left-wing extremists?
No.
I'm trying to think. I cannot actually.
I can't think of a single.
I can't think of a single instance. If one of you guys has a clip of that, by all means, send it to me to talk@dionbergeron.com, and I will absolutely revise this. But I don't recall any left-wing extremism. The point is, they're going to label you, and we see it. We see it with January 6th. And regardless of your feelings about January 6th, remember, now they're going after people who were literally just outside. Mm-hmm. They didn't breach. They didn't trespass. They didn't do anything other than attend a rally and then left.
Yeah, and maybe have some photographic evidence.
Yeah, and maybe took some pictures, right? But is there a cat in here?
Yes.
Oh. Stop it.
That'll work.
Sometimes they listen. Rarely. But there is a consistent push. And let's face it, the FBI, not that long ago, was labeling parents who were unhappy with their school board. They were putting them on lists.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of dystopian place that we are now. And it's from that constant tiny compromise, in my opinion. We have compromised over and over and over and over. Every single time they go, well, this will be it, right? This is just, we just need a little more control, a little more registration, a little more reporting. That's all we need. And then everything will be fine. Look at, here's a prime example, right? The so-called assault rifle ban of the 90s, right? The Brady, what was it? Brady Bill, Brady Act, something like that. Yeah. It had no effect. Right. The so-called effect that they said it would have was not present. Right. And the FBI tried. Oh, they tried to play with the numbers and do everything they could do in order to prove that it worked, because that was the goal. The goal was to take away, ultimately, your right to defend yourself. Luckily, the idiots who allowed it to be passed in the first place made it expire in an X amount of time. Right. We'll try it for a little while and see how it works. Thankfully, they were unable to manipulate the numbers enough to bring it back.
So far.
At least, yeah. They're absolutely trying. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
like you said, it's by inches.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They're not going to come and, do 12 feet at once. Yeah. It's always by inches, just a little bit. Like, here's a perfect example. The magazine limit, right? You can only have 10 rounds or less in your magazine. Now, people who don't know any better might say, well, what do you need more than 10 rounds for? It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't fucking matter what I need it for. It's an inherent God-given right for me to be able to defend myself with whatever I so choose. And what's really funny is the Second Amendment actually has nothing to do with firearms itself. Right. Nothing. It's arms. Yeah. It's period. Your ability to defend yourself. And again, it doesn't affect you.
Yeah. It doesn't say firearms. It doesn't say, swords, axes, clubs, cannons, nuclear missiles. It does not specify.
So that's always the talking point, right? As soon as you bring up, well, any gun law is an infringement. As soon as you say any gun law, is an infringement, you get these people, much like the abortion debate. You get these people that are like, well, I guess you think everyone should have nuclear missiles. How do we go straight to? I'll tell you this: if you can build a nuclear missile in your basement by yourself, you deserve to have one. I mean, good luck with that. Good luck with, because you'll have to create it all yourself, right?
Well, I mean, I don't agree necessarily with that sentiment, but
fair.
I will contend, if you can make a nuclear bomb in your basement by yourself, good luck stopping them.
Well, that's what I mean. Ultimately, good luck, if someone is able to create all the materials, without going to the network or whatever on the black market, etc. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck stopping that.
And that's the whole thing. It's like all the laws in the world aren't going to change what they claim. That's
exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
The laws or regulations or whatever are for. Yeah. Criminals are going to criminal. That's just how it is.
That's I think the most fundamental aspect that I believe people, and again, I understand the pain, I understand the rage, I understand from those who have lost loved ones in a situation that involved a firearm. I understand your anger and your desire to do something. Let's do something to fix this, right? But I worked at Indiana State Prison. I worked at X-Row, which is the most secure environment on the planet. There's so many checkpoints that you have to go through in order to get back to death row. And yet they still had weapons back there. And how? Because criminals find a way. Yeah. They find a way.
Yeah. They're incredibly resourceful.
Yeah. And all they got is time. I was genuinely shocked when I first started working at Indiana State Prison they got this big display right in the training area, and it's all the different, not all, but a large portion of the most interesting weapons that have been found.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things made out of toilet paper, a blade that they made out of toilet paper, wet and then sharpened once it dry. You wouldn't think toilet paper could cut you, but I'm here to tell you.
Yeah, you put enough layers together.
Yep, you put enough time and effort into it, especially you take toilet paper and you mix it with I can't think of the Jolly Rancher stuff, right? You melt the Jolly Ranchers and you coat it with it. Oh my God, man, it's on then. People will always find a way. Can you go let the cat out, please, real quick? In the meantime,
cat is going to... Come on.
It's fine. So
Is it fine? Then why'd you
just leave it. It's okay. I was trying to get the cat out of here, but yeah, make sure you hit it. I still can't find my damn sandbags. Anyway, I think that that's one of the things that people have kind of defended Trump on, right? The whole bump stock ban. Well, bump stocks suck anyway. It doesn't matter. It's this. Well, we had to compromise to avoid getting even more restrictive regulations. I love that. Let's talk about this word here. Let's talk about compromise. Right.
It's funny how every time the word compromise gets thrown around anymore, it's somebody giving something up and not getting anything.
Yeah, interesting how that works.
There's no like middle ground.
Right.
I mean, unless you count like, okay, if you just give up this little bit, we won't throw you in federal prison.
Yeah, that's what they consider compromise.
Yeah, that's not compromise. That's extortion.
Right. Absolutely. And again, we've seen it over and over with these various between the ones that have actually passed. But if you ever like scan through the proposed bills in Congress, holy crap.
I don't think I have that kind of time.
Well, I don't scroll all of them, believe me. I don't think anybody has that.
Yeah, they're specifically designed to be unreadable.
That's the key. Yeah.
Here's the bill. Okay, vote on it.
Yeah. Here's 1,100 pages. We vote in 2 hours. Here you go.
Yeah. Go ahead and peruse this and then sign your name.
Yeah, and then sign it. I have. It mystifies me how consistently these people have shown up and voted for things that they have no idea what's even in it. No clue. Look at Pelosi with Obamacare, right? And it's just one example of countless.
Man,
you got to pass it to know what's in it. Huh?
Yeah, don't even get me started on Obamacare.
Right. I'll say this, you have a little different take on that, though. The big thing for you was the penalty. You have to have insurance or you have to pay money. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
that was crazy. And for the longest time, it wasn't that big a deal. It's like I'd rather pay, $100 penalty on my taxes than to pay $2,500 on insurance I'll never use.
Right.
Well, apparently they caught on to that.
Yeah, they did. And then it's
it was 300, then it was 500, and then it was 750, and I don't even know how much it is now. I mean, now I have insurance that I actually use, but it's like, why am I paying?
Yeah.
It's not like you're giving me insurance. It'd be one thing if you're like, okay, we're going to charge you this money for our insurance since you don't want to carry your own.
Right.
I still don't think that's right, but at least
then you get something.
Yeah, at least I get something out of it other than, hey, thanks for your money.
Yeah. So what do you think the general consensus, or a better way to phrase this, do you think it's okay for these politicians, in particular Trump, who you guys know me. I like Trump, but I don't think he's perfect. He's made some mistakes. This is one of the areas that I think he, really screwed up on. Do you think it's all right for these politicians to consistently give just a little more in order to, quote, keep the peace or, compromise?
Well, I mean, to give you the short answer, no, it's not. I think he made a miscalculation in doing that. Okay, we're going to do this just to shut you people up.
Yeah.
This is not, a big deal. You open the door.
Yep.
You open the door. You can't. It's very hard to close. And I don't believe in well, let's just keep the peace. Let's just to keep things civil.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah. And
that's not representing your people.
That's
okay.
It right there. It is not representing the people. Yeah.
Those people make way too much money and work way too little to just we don't want things to become a hassle.
Right.
Come on, man. Come on.
Maybe we need a little hassle.
We need a lot. We need more than a little hassle.
Yeah. But Jack mentioned, by the way, when we were talking about left and right, fundamentalists or extremists, right? Mm-hmm. Left-wing extremists, right-wing extremists. Jack said we call them fundies, slang for extreme fundamentalists, no matter the cause, religion or politics. Makes sense.
Yeah, we used to call them cause heads.
Cause heads.
Yeah. Way into a cause till the next cause comes around.
Right. Well, it's funny because I don't know if you guys, obviously, I'm sure you've seen it. It's been all over the news, but these various college protests, right? Regardless of what they're protesting, there's always something to protest on a college campus.
Mm-hmm.
But this is particularly
apparently it's going to school.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing to protest. How dare we actually learn? But there has been a consistent, very inorganic movement across I got a whole list of college campuses that have this, I don't know, free Palestine, free Gaza protests going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked these girls who were out there, what are you protesting? And they genuinely did not know. They were like, why are we here, Becky? And it's a prime example. They genuinely have no clue. It's the next current thing.
Mm-hmm.
The little meme where you slot the little chip, whether it's, this month it's Elon Musk, next month it's, Trump again,
mm-hmm.
Protest this and everything will be okay.
Yeah. Let's just, throw a dart at the protest board and see what it lands on.
Yeah. See what this week's protest is about because,
are we mad about the environment again yet? Or,
so funny you should bring up the environment because, they just had another report come out as to all the so-called climate warriors, right? The people who are talking about, Al Gore and Obama and a bunch of other ones that have always touted climate change is a thing. It's man-made, and the oceans are going to rise and drown us all.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them has beachfront property, oceanfront property, Martha's Vineyard, various other places. If they truly believed that was the case, that, climate change is inexorable and it's coming and their houses are going to be underwater, why would they invest millions and millions of dollars to buy property on the lake or the ocean or whatever, various, bodies of water right there on the edge of them, if they really thought that stuff was happening?
Yeah. Well, it is going to happen.
Well, eventually.
Yeah, just not in their lifetime,
right?
Or
our kids,
children's lifetime,
right.
And these are the same people that will take multiple private jets to a environment conference.
The same people who the hypocrisy is genuinely astounding.
Yeah.
And they don't see
160,000 flights every day.
Yep.
But, I'm the asshole because I drive an SUV.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. They fly around in their private jets. They have these massive convoys where they go with their security.
Yeah, their motorcades.
Their motorcades, right? But because I have a mid-size SUV,
yeah,
I'm the POS.
And wasn't Obama a smoker?
Yeah. It's hilarious. It genuinely.
I mean,
hey, whatever.
Do
man.
you, man?
Yeah,
I mean,
you, exactly. But it's funny because these are the people that are lecturing us on, making your behavior better.
Yeah, don't preach to me about nutrition with a Big Mac in your mouth.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's been it's simply another example of the level of control that they want to dictate, because it's not just firearms, it's not just the climate, right, or your ability, to push for EVs. I believe that there are, let's say, loftier goals by the government when pushing things like EVs, right? All these new EVs are so hooked up with tech that they can be shut off remotely. They can be activated, deactivated, hacked. Yeah, all of these things are super easy to do. So what then is the real reason for? Because we know the grid can't handle it. They've shown that over and over.
Yeah, and you can't hack a 78 Camaro.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you can't fix it either, apparently. But I know I can't. For those of you who may be new, I have a history with Camaros. They were a problem
history
for a while. dark history. Yeah. Second and third gen Camaros were my Achilles heel there for a while. Yeah. Yeah, they were a little bit of an addiction, just a wee bit. Yeah, I remember the Speedway truck stop here in right by 94 here in Michigan City. I used to park my truck there and have my car parked in the car parking so I could drop my truck off when I was a truck driver and get in my car. And I was fueling. I pulled up at the fuel pump and the whole hood just burst into flame. I had to run my fat ass back to the truck to try to get the fire extinguisher.
No, that was actually the time that I drove your Camaro to come pick you up from your truck.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
That was when your transmission line
got
a hole in it and sprayed transmission fluid all over the engine.
Right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. When I pulled up and you went, "Why is my car smoking?" I don't know.
No idea. Yeah, open the hood and it was just, Anyway, so I have a little bit of not so much anymore. I haven't had a Camaro in years and years and years. You were kind of a driving force in that, telling me, okay, man, just step away from the Camaro.
Yeah, real hard to drive a Camaro with a broken foot.
Right. Yeah, it was. Man, there were so many problems with those cars. But and let's face it, they weren't the best engineered in the first place, but they really aren't designed to last.
Well,
20,
and
30,
you're not exactly, the easiest on
not
cars.
Exactly easy on them, yeah. But there is that. I mean, unfortunately, it.
And cheap Camaros always have problems.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not like I invested in a perfectly maintained, beautiful factory condition car. Generally, whatever I could pick up for $300, $400, $500, $600. Drive it till it fell apart or the frame broke, which happened. Yeah, one of my countless Camaro adventures.
Or you bust the oil pan on a railroad track.
Oh yeah. When I was delivering pizza for Domino's, I jumped the railroad tracks over by the Lighthouse Mall. And
we are so far away from.
Oh, I know. We just kind of took a detour, but that's the beauty of it. And ultimately, we've seen these people try to explain away all of the things that we talked about during the show. And I think it really ultimately comes down to, at what point do we go, okay, we're done compromising?
Yeah.
And that was my big argument for the bump stock ban, for these other ridiculous, regulations and laws when it comes to firearms and the regulation thereof.
And talking about, the Second Amendment and the government, I'm sure you remember that little gem from the president when he was talking about, AR-15s. For overthrowing the government.
Oh yeah.
It's like, yeah.
We have F-16.
We have F-15s. We have nuclear bombs. Like, boy, are you saying the quiet part out loud right now?
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what? I will say this. That right there, that little thing right there should have made everyone understand exactly how necessary and how much forethought was involved in our founding fathers in making it to where we had the right to defend
ourselves. If your best argument is,
we could just nuke you.
Yeah.
Speaking of nuke you, did you see Lindsey Graham's unhinged?
You showed me the thing, and we talked about it. Right. I don't think that's what he meant.
Wow. I don't know, man. If you haven't seen it, Lindsey Graham talked about how in his opinion, Israel should just nuke Gaza.
I don't think that's not what he meant. I know I know it sounds like that.
It certainly.
I'm not trying. Believe me, I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just trying to put things into context. I think he was talking about the bombs that we're withholding from him right now, from Israel right now. The standard munitions. Number one, we don't need to give Israel nukes. Right. They've got plenty of their own. They don't need to use nukes because they're doing just fine without them.
Apparently, that's what they claim anyway. I don't know. I'll say this. I'm not on anyone's side other than America's.
Right.
Like I care about the American people. I don't even care about the American politicians. Fuck all of them. But the American people, the innocent civilians here, I care about, to a degree, the innocent civilians in Palestine and Israel. Like, those people are just living their lives.
Right.
That's as far as it goes. Whoever does their thing over there, that's for you, man. Keep our money here. Let's take care of our veterans. Let's take care of the people who sacrificed for this country.
I mean, that whole region has been actively trying to kill each other for since the beginning of time.
Right.
Nothing we do. Yeah. What makes you think that we're gonna, hey guys, you just need to calm down and cooler heads need to prevail. One thing I learned, as a little kid in the 80s, as a kid in the 80s, you learn it just, casually.
Right.
Is you don't screw with Israel.
Right. True.
You just don't do it.
Yeah.
Not for any moral compunction or ethical quandaries or anything. Right. They will fuck you the fuck up. It's just, they're good at it.
They are good at it. And I'll say this, look, all other things aside, Christian fundamentalists, have this belief about Israel and all of that. Look into the 6-Day War, the 7-Day War. I don't remember exactly, but it was in the 60s and 70s. There were a series of skirmishes over there where the neighbors attempted to oust Israel from where they were. And the war itself, okay. But if you look at some of the weird stuff that happened and some of the claims that were made by some of the enemy forces, it's weird. I mean, it's like, okay. I mean, I'm talking like apparitions, entire divisions disappearing. I mean, there's some crazy stuff that happened.
Yeah, I don't know from any of that.
Yeah. It makes for an interesting read for sure. But these are their enemies who are relaying this. They have no reason to help crazy stories about Israel. But if you look into it, like, it's pretty wild. But the point being, by the time the 80s came, there was a very real, you just need to leave them alone. You just need to leave Israel alone. Don't mess with them.
Yeah.
Weird stuff happens. Yeah, we just leave them alone. At the same time, I would say that they have a very outsized influence in our government, but that's a whole other story.
Well, yeah. And let's not, pretend like, the other side is exactly, innocent victims.
Well,
here.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This whole thing kicked off with,
You know what, though? I'm going to say this. I want to get, because this is like kind of a little off track, but I'll say that given the history of our news service, right? I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah.
When you look at the news, when they tell you what happened, what was supposed to have happened on this day, that day, these people did this, these people did that. I don't we are at the level to where I'm not even sure if video is real anymore.
Or there is that.
Between deep fakes and AI generated images, there were a lot of those. A lot of the, from the October 7th events, there were a whole lot of AI generated images that made the rounds. Some by some really who were respected sources of information.
Right.
And then they're sharing AI images, and you look at this and you go, well, then what else have they shared that was inaccurate? What else have they told me that was a lie?
Right.
And then it begs the question, well, did they know it was, for example, AI generated? Did they know that it was fake? Did they share it willingly? Because a lot of these accounts have still never apologized for sharing what were determined to be absolute fake images. At the same time, I'm absolutely sure atrocities happen, but we don't.
Both ways.
Exactly. Both sides, but we don't know anymore what the frickin' truth is. Because
we at the end of the day, we do know what the truth is.
Okay.
This side wants to kill that side. That side wants to kill this side, and we should just stay the fuck out of it.
Yeah. Okay. So they like to make the I guess the connection, right? That says, well, if we don't help Ukraine, for example, that Russia's going to take over Ukraine, and then they're going to come after NATO allies like Poland or something. They like to compare it to the 30s.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
let's talk about that, because I think you and I don't exactly see eye to eye on that.
Right.
I was all for we should help Ukraine against Russia.
Russian aggression.
Yeah, Putin's a piece of shit. He has aspirations. Okay, yeah, sure, let's help him out, but don't pussy out when it's time to put boots on the ground.
Okay.
If you're gonna do it, do it.
Okay.
If you're not, then leave them to it.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, we should have just sent.
I think we should have. I think we should have. No, we should have committed or not.
Okay.
None of this little pussyfooting, because what you're doing right there, that's a proxy war.
Yeah.
You want to fight the Russians, but you don't want to piss off the Russians.
Right.
This is no different than
It's no different than Vietnam, dude.
Vietnam, freaking Afghanistan, back in the day,
Panama. This has been happening for years.
Iran. And we're going to end up in the same predicament that we have been every single time before that. We're going to have some puppet dictator that we put into place,
right,
who ends up biting us, in the ass.
Yep. So I, on the other hand, am of the opinion that we just need to stay the hell out of it. And more importantly, because ultimately it doesn't come down to, F the rest of the world. It comes down to America is supposed to be the priority for America.
That I will agree with.
We are supposed to take care of Americans, and our infrastructure is a joke. What happened to this multi-trillion-dollar fucking bill that they passed? The Build Back Better Inflation, Bend You Over Act that was supposed to
the Build Back baloney.
Yeah, that was supposed to rebuild our infrastructure, and we're seeing bridges falling and highways crumbling. And where's the money? Where's the fucking money? Every single time it's the same bullshit. And this is what Republicans have been saying. Not just Republicans, but I wouldn't even say Republicans, because the so-called puppets in the White House do not represent we the people, and they do not represent the Republican Party. The real Republican Party is made up of millions of like-minded Americans throughout the country who believe.
This is his deal right now.
Right. But it's just an example, though. I'm talking about real conservatives, however they view themselves. As far as politically, right?
Yeah, you know how I feel about fucking.
Right. The whole political process to you has run its course, and it's time to make some different ideas and options. And I don't necessarily disagree there. However, our ultimate goal should be serving America. And it infuriates me to no end to see people,
absolutely right,
sign up for the armed services to go and then be virtually ignored when they come home. And there are examples of
be virtually ignored while they're still out.
Well, yeah, exactly. And we see this consistently across the board.
Yeah, we're not defending our country. At this point, we're the military has become a political tool.
Yep.
It's become the sword of the government.
Yeah, exactly. And it is used to finance special interests, to take out, like, here's just a tiny example, right? The poppy fields in Afghanistan, right? The CIA and other governmental agencies were actively involved in drug supply, right? In drug dealing, essentially.
Well, that's not that new.
But exactly. It's nothing new. This has been going on for many, many, many years. And we just had a guy that testified in front of Congress saying that the CIA is refusing to share information with other agencies. They've essentially gone completely rogue. And Havana syndrome, which I covered on the show in the past, they truly believe that it's an attack. It's not an exam, like a flu bug or something like that. They believe it's a concerted effort by someone or something to assassinate various people in positions, right? But the CIA refuses to share intel and all kinds of stuff. But it's a guy, I wish I could remember his name, but I can't. He said, he knows where the bodies are buried, and he's more than happy to tell them in a skiff, right? A secure, basically a secured facility where it's not going to get leaked out, right? This has been going on for a really long time. And unfortunately, the military has become an extension, an arm of these intel agencies. And the various people that want to, call them the deep state, call them whatever the hell you want. It's a group of people that maybe believe, I don't know what their real motivations are, but maybe believe in their mind that they're doing the right thing, but they don't care. They don't care about how it's supposed to be done, how the rules are supposed to be, or the laws are supposed to be, because in their mind, they're righteous and doing what, is best in their mind. And in their mind, maybe globalism is best. It's not. But is that a matter of opinion?
Well, I mean, I'm not a globalist by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. I know that. And I do believe that there are benefits to working with your neighbors, right? Mexico and Canada, for example. I think there are benefits with, imports and exports and working with them.
Mm-hmm.
But we've come to a point in this country where virtually all of our most important goods are made somewhere besides here.
Right.
We saw it during COVID, where these ventilators and various medications are made overseas.
Well, it just seems to me that, there's no mutual bent. I told you.
It was only a matter of time before you kick the camera.
It's not mutual benefit anymore.
Right.
We give and 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 we give as a country.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm willing to drop a freaking C note that there ain't a country on the face of this planet that gives a rat's ass about the United States. Right. When push comes to shove, they will leave us twisted in the wind. They will sell us out for the price of an extra value meal.
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And ultimately, if it benefits their nation, that's what they should do. That ultimately, I believe that nations should look out for the interests of their nation, or more directly, the citizens of their nation, their people.
Right.
We should look out for America and Americans, and Britain should look out for the British. That's just, how it should work.
Right.
But unfortunately, we have these various alliances, and which I'm curious. Maybe let's see if you know. So back in the 80s, right? Warsaw Pact versus NATO was the kind of, it was the overarching theme for all the games and movies, right? All the World War III type fear, not even fear, but the video games, the entertainment.
Yeah, Cold War
era stuff was always Warsaw Pact, which was Russia, basically, versus NATO. And I'm just curious now, with the demise of the Soviet Union, what the fuck is NATO for?
Good question.
I mean, I'm just asking, like, what great world power is NATO designed to prevent?
Well, I don't believe that NATO's the only, the only cool kids club.
Right.
Yeah.
But yet everyone wants to join them. I mean, Ukraine wants to join. What's the other one? There was another one recently that was like, let us join.
Like Finland or something?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Sweden, I think, wants to join. There's a few, but it's almost like there's this big buildup of power and alliances to fight an unspecified enemy.
Right.
So is it just a funnel, like a way for these countries to funnel some money towards their various pet projects? We need 15 more jets and 130 more tanks. And
that's a big question for somebody much smarter than myself.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder. Yeah. But, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time, and thanks for joining us. Next week, Wednesday, 8 a.m., I'm going to try to make sure we're on time this time. I had an issue with the graphic this morning, so I had to redo it.
I didn't realize you called your bed graphic.
What? Oh, what? I was up. Come on, man. All right. We'll see you next week. As always, God bless you. God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States of America.
Amen.
See you soon.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.